Hello, I'm Jeff Pearce. This is Ethiopia. This is Gondar, one of my favorite places in the entire country. We came here for Timket. An Ethiopian journalist asked me what I thought of it, and I replied that I wished everyone who supported the TPLF side in the current conflict could come here for this celebration, because Timket gives a glimpse of the Ethiopian soul. Well, we're going to follow the celebrations so that we can understand why Timket is especially significant this year. Now, Ethiopians certainly don't need me to try to educate them about their own holiday, so anything I mention here about the common practices is mainly for the newbies in the audience, of which I'm all too recently one. In fact, Timket is over, it's done and dusted. So why bother looking back at all? Well, hopefully we can gain a few insights along the way. Let our tour guide Grum explain things as we stroll around what he calls the Camp David for Emperor Fasilides of the 17th century, his second palace. And it was good to be the king.
It was a swimming pool of Emperor Fasilides in the 17th century. But now, once in a year, we are using this place for the celebration of Ethiopian Epiphany, or we call it Timket. The name of the river is called Kaha River. So from that river, it comes through an internal channel, and it will just flow all the way down to here. Once he finished swimming, when he lets the water out, the water will go back to the river again. So Emperor Fasilides had to travel about like 3 kilometers from his castle all the way down in here for swimming.
And they would do this in that time too? They would send the water and then send it back?
Yeah.
That's kind of ingenious.
Yes, they did it. So,
that's very clever.
Yeah, so it was really smart engineering system at that time.
Tuesday morning for us doesn't begin with church, but with state. The National Museum in Addis Ababa has given pieces of Theodoros's hair to Gondar's Ras Gim, now a small museum in its own right.
We are commemorating Epiphany or Timket ceremony.
Yeah.
So there was many requests from the people who are born here in Gondar, because they are appealing many times to see the hair of Theodore II. So for that we bring it in order to answer the public request.
Okay.
And the other thing is, this great king was born on January 6th.
Oh.
Oh,
okay.
So in order to commemorate his birthday, and it's also in order to collaborate with Timket or Epiphany ceremony. So we get many people who are coming from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Our diasporas came to as part of No More.
Yeah.
You see, as you know very well.
Yes.
So in order to make the ceremony more attractive and more popular, we bring it to give people chance to see this. It is very special. For one thing, we are struggling to preserve our national independence, as you know very well, against the TPLF or the junta. You see, people are fighting both things, socially, politically, economically. We are struggling. We are trying to showing Ethiopia is a peaceful country rather than there is a war in the northern part of Ethiopia. So for those Western medias, for those Western countries or leaders like USA and some European countries are trying to show Ethiopian bad image. But we Ethiopians are struggling. Ethiopia is a peaceful country rather than there is conflicts in the northern part of Ethiopia. Most of the people are traveling from one corner to another. So this is celebrating Timket or Epiphany ceremony here is one of the important aspects how we are fighting against the Western medias and Western countries who are stood against of Ethiopia.
When we think about Emperor Theodorus, he is a symbol of heroism. He is one of the most outstanding emperor Ethiopia ever had, and it will give a courage and a moral for different people who are participating in the war. So it's really building the moral of the local militia defense, as well as the local people of Amhara. We call them like Fano. They will have a moral even to fight.
Meanwhile, Gondar keeps sprucing itself up for these special 3 days. The roundabout gets busier, and Theodoros is made to look his very best. The perfect view to see the procession of the tablets, the copies of the Ark of the Covenant, is on a balcony of the Quora Hotel, and the seats start to fill up.
This is one of the churches that the copy of the Ark of the Covenant is going to come out, and will join the procession soon. This afternoon. So this church is one of the very first churches that was built by the one who established Gondar as a capital city for Ethiopia. His name was Emperor Fasil.
This time Epiphany is quite unique and a symbolic from the Ethiopians as well as the Gondarians. So that makes unique from the rest of the time, I think, for the coming events also.
Menelik Zidu from Maryland didn't come for the sake of the homecoming. He actually made his own personal tour of spots affected by the war, such as Lalibela and Dessie, because he doesn't believe the media and believes the Ethiopian government is downplaying the destruction for some areas.
I saw devastation, I saw poverty, I saw injustice. They're not telling you. They keep telling you that, oh, we don't want to speak it because this is very, culturally, it's not proper to talk about it. It has to be told to the world. Otherwise, how would you understand these people?
It's time to follow the march, then skip ahead to see if we can get a good spot to see the tablets go in. Rahel Aduna from Boston came back for the homecoming. Her father was from Gondar, her mother from Adwa, and her father tried relentlessly but failed to get his land back, stolen by the TPLF. She has a 23-year-old cousin who was wounded serving in the war.
Like the Amhara being killed, just for being Amhara, for being, for standing for the truth and for loving the country and the religion, and I know the reason all this is happening, and I believe because in order for the TPLF to succeed, so really to do what they have to do with Amhara people, and that hurts me a lot because my dad he's Amhara, so it hurts me a lot as an Ethiopian because I am Ethiopian. When anyone asks me where you're from, I said I'm an Ethiopian.
You don't say you're Amhara or Tigrayan because you're mixed heritage.
No, it's very painful for us, especially someone like me. It's special because everyone is really literally praying for the country, to stand and for people to unite and to leave all the painful things, everything what's happening.
The anticipation builds, and at last, the tablets go in. Wednesday, and the faithful have walked in the dark and chilly night air to try to get the best spot for the blessing of the pool water.
Right after this mass finished, there will be also some chanting by the priest around the pool. The pool will be surrounded by deacons and the bishop of Gondar, and as well as some church scholars will be around the pool, surrounding the pool. And right after that, they will be blessing the water with the cross. Once the water gets blessed, as we believe, it turns to holy water.
The hours pass, and pass. The crowd gets impatient, and even locals will tell you that the speeches by politicians don't help but merely drag things out. It really is something to see, and you don't have to be Orthodox or Christian to enjoy the moving moments of the ceremonies or this sudden, sincere expression and spectacle of spiritual joy. A good friend told me how religion had become Ethiopia's culture. Doesn't matter whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, there are rituals and events woven into the country's identity. So maybe this year the celebration is about continuity and about healing, and Ethiopia does need healing. There will have to be in the near future a longer discussion in the nation about the psychological impact of this war on everyone. Everyone. I've seen death and destruction, and I've been diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I feel it. I'm irritable, I'm emotional, I lose sleep, I fly off the handle, and I'm embarrassed by all that because I get to go home. Imagine what so many Ethiopians feel because it's their country. Imagine what IDPs feel and what they will be feeling for years to come. And you in the West, when you ignore the other regions of the country, when you ignore and stay oblivious to all the death, the IDPs, the wasteland that the TPLF lays in hospitals, universities, administration offices, you add insult to trauma, and you don't give a damn. And the Western media is still getting it wrong. In a needlessly divisive article, the AFP's Robbie Corey-Boulay claims any push by Abiy for reconciliation would encounter stiff resistance in Gondar. Gee, as opposed to the rest of Ethiopia, like in Afar and Wallo. Why portray Amhara in Gondar as intransigent? Why single out the region at all when the country is united over this? He also wrote that the wounds of war cast a pall over Timket this year. Does this look like a pall? Wednesday, late afternoon, early evening, and these people, especially the young, needed a release. They needed to feel good about themselves and their country and their culture, and they deserve to. Thursday afternoon, and life in Gondar is getting back to its regular routine. I said publicly that this conflict has also been a war on culture, on who Ethiopians are, and what is frustrating, what is infuriating is that so few in the West want to bother to find out what that culture is. Only when you can talk to Ethiopians with true empathy, true sympathy on their terms, can you understand. They're not a problem for you to solve. Take the time to learn. Doesn't mean you need to know everything, I don't, but open your mind and say, please teach me. I put into a book these words. The West will begin to understand Africa when it realizes it's not talking to a child, it's talking to its mother. And these words are so true of Ethiopia, a country that will welcome you and your help when you stop demanding and insisting and start asking politely. And when you recognize the true beauty of this place and its people who are one.